Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Chesed, Yeshiva Tsama Nafshi, here Yerushalyim HaKodesh. We are learning Pirkei Avos, this is our first year in the morning, and we're going to go to a deeper understanding of the necessity of having a Rav, and to do that we're going to look at the HaKodesh, Rav Shimon Shrup's Tsama to Shar Yosher, his sefer on basic key conceptual sugyas in Shas. So there in the beginning of the Hakadah, it's actually not in the actual beginning, in the middle of the Hakadah, goes as follows. We're going to see, we're read out of the in Baba Kama. Well, maybe we get to see the more inside, we'll see. Yaakov, would you like to read the beginning there? Rishar Yosher. Yeah, okay.
ולכן, אקבע אשר גם בהוצאת ספרי זה להפיץ ולהבין.
Yes, okay. Looking there for Ekba, I think this is in hope of Asher Hashem Gam B'Hotzos Sifri is also in the publication of this sefer, like Hotzos Sefer, Sifri. The Hotzos Sefer, that's the publication of my sefer, is that the sefer of mine. The Hafitz the Rabbi to be distributed to the public. Just going to bring it over. After your
יחנני הטוב והמתי מהשם, I guess, הטוב והמתי is Hashem. May he grace me, I think, למשוך את לב העולם, to pull the heart of the world.
Well, a mailing is like those who are endeavoring to aim at halacha, in the depths of halacha. A mailing the Torah, those who are mailing the aim at halacha, those who are putting forth effort in the depths of halacha.
So to pull the heart of those toiling, the omek halacha, in the valley of the halacha, lahagot, or to contemplate in it, the hosif, and to add. To gain benefits. Okay, also to gain benefits. Lekach is like a chaf. It's like an understanding, right? Okay. Chalki imahem sela, and my portion be with them.
Correct. Okay. Now he's going to explain certain points.
Behold, I will know Shesifrei Zeh Lo Yeh Mekubal Lekol. I understand that this sefer that I've just written will not be received by everyone. Ki Harbe Lodim, because the majority of people in learning, Lo Hargalu, we're not accustomed Lahagot, but they're we're not accustomed to learn, I guess, Pirkei Avos and Iyun.
Well, this is not specifically on Pirkei Avos. In general, they're not accustomed to learn the derech Iyun, like with analysis. Right? Like Iyun is like the analytical learning. Like there's two types of learning: is Bikiyas and there's Iyun. So Bikiyas is basically informative. You want to learn something to get the information from what the Torah is teaching. That's number one. Then you learn derech analysis, or derech iyun, with depth and analysis.
Kefi derech iyun, soveh v'holech berov v'yinim. Since the way of iyun. It surrounds and moves among the majority.
Right. Since kefi derech ha'ir hasoivei v'holek roi v'inyonim v'nemer b'sefer. Since that the derech of Iyun, meaning the analytical approach, soivei, like encompasses and holek and and that it goes through, right? That the derech Ian is encompassing and goes through the majority of the topics that are discussed in this sefer.
Namarim, the sefer is that are discussed in the sefer.
Yes, mentioned or spoken about in the sefer.
Sheharbeh darachim l'Torah, and the majority of the paths of Torah, the kol echad motza ta'am lefi haglo, and everyone is a reason is found according to his custom.
Right, according to his habit, meaning harbi darachim l'Torah. There are many paths in Torah, right? There are many paths in Torah. But call echad, right? And each one, right, will produce a tam, like that could be a reason. That could tam can also mean an interest. Yeah, find a tam, a reason and an interest. The fee hagirul, according to the way a person is accustomed.
Does that mean that it's talking about like a learner's bias?
It depends on the person's his own hairdo, his own way of learning, his own derech in learning. Here, but let's see if you can look on with me. Oh, no, this is a different one. We're learning the Hakdama of Rav Shimon Shkap Zetzal's Shar Yosher. You're probably familiar with the Hakdama to the Shar Yosher. You probably know the Sefer Shar Yosher. Rav Shimon Shkap was one of the primary Talmidim. Yeah, and he wrote a Sefer on basic conceptual topics throughout Shas, and it's called Shar Yosher. And in Hakdama, this is a Hakdama which is relevant to what we're learning in Pirkei Avos, because we're learning that the statement of Yeshua and Brachia also Rav. So we want to try and understand through this Hakdama of Rav Shimon Shkap what the importance of having a Rav is. He's going to bring down a particular Gemara in Baba Kama, and we'll see how he relates to that Gemara and how he's going to bring out the importance of a person having a Rav, why that should be important. So he's basically explaining over here that the Sefer is not going to be well accepted by most people, because the Sefer is dealing with a derech of limud, which is Ian, and most people are not used to learning the Ian, right? And therefore, most of the concepts that are going to be introduced and discussed in the Sefer are going to be explained according to this way. And since there are many different paths in Torah, each one will bring forth its own interests and its own explanations according to the person who's learning it, according to what he's used to, right? So now it continues. Go oi.
ועוד לזה שרוב העניינים, המחקרים that are explained in this or in it, הם עניינים הדרושים עם ויגיע. They are like inyanim topics that seek to expound upon the subject of
like this. It says that the Roman Yanim, many of the topics, the majority of the topics in this that are explained in the Sefer, they are topics that they require in v'yagia. They are topics which require analysis and effort. You're not going to be a simple Sefer which you're going to just be able to pick up and understand what's talking about without putting your efforts into understanding what's being said. You're going to have to put efforts into the things which are explained in the Sefer.
So here, Yerushalyim means they require.
Dorshim they require, right?
V'lo yipasu gam b'lev mevin habata ba'alma.
A bunt is literally like a look or a stare, ba'ama. So it's no tafsir gamle. It's not going to grab the heart of it. It's not going to interest the heart of the person who's trying to understand simply with a superficial look at it. Right? You have to try and go to the depths of what's being discussed.
Below kol adam rasa likhlot chasron ba'atzmo machmat amek ha-mushad chasron ha-mashi. And not every man desires to stand.
Make it to have it to give the causative factor, meaning litlos is like something which depends on something else. To litlos, something is totally on that. Something is depending on that. So not every person wishes to litlos to depend in terms of having when you want to choose on what the chesoron is. He's explaining as follows. Many of the topics which are going to be discussed in the Sefer are very difficult and require analysis and require effort, right? But when you're faced with such a thing like that, not everybody is going to say, the chesoron, the lack it's my fault. It's my fault because I don't understand this because it's my fault. I'm not putting effort into it. Not many people are going to do that. Most people are going to say, I just can't understand this. This simply doesn't make sense. I don't understand. So it's talking about, I don't understand it. You maybe haven't put in the sufficient efforts to properly understand it, right? But not everyone's going to admit to the truth and say that that's why they don't understand it. If you ask a person, they say, I don't understand something. So why don't you understand it, right? Let's make an analysis. Why don't you understand it? Well, I read it once or twice and it doesn't make sense. Well, because it's not supposed to be understood by one or two superficial readings, right? But not everyone's going to say, because I didn't put in the effort, I didn't understand it. Not everyone's going to do that. That's what he means. Lo kol adam rotzu litlos ha-chesoron ba'atzmo. Not everyone wants to attribute litlos, to attribute. Yeah, that's a good word. Not every person wants to attribute the lack, the chesoron in himself, the fault in himself. Makmas oimes. Because of the depth of the concept, the depth of the concept, the chesoron hamasig, and the chesoron, the lack of achievement. Right? He didn't achieve it. Why didn't he achieve it? An understanding of the material, because it takes effort to understand it, and everyone's going to say, well, I didn't achieve it, I didn't put in the effort. No one wants to say that about himself. Someone says, I didn't understand because I'm lazy. Yeah, people are afraid to admit that they didn't do it. No one wants to admit that they're to a fault in themselves, right? Nobody. What do you say?
Well, I think most people make the effort, and if they don't understand it, they may not have the ability. And why should we say that they're lazy?
No, it's not that they're lazy. It's that it takes a certain level of effort, right? They may have put in effort.
So when you have a talmud, you didn't make the effort, and you don't have the ability, that doesn't encourage him to be to work hard and you have to encourage him. Yes, you're going to be successful. You can do it. You have to create a positive self-image. And we're saying, well, you didn't make the effort, maybe a little bit schwach.
No. He's facing facts. He's facing facts. And he's a sefer right now. He's got a sefer, and the sefer has just come out, right? And he's saying that the sefer is going to be very difficult for people to accept. Why is it going to be difficult to accept?
Then it's going to be very popular. When he advertises sefer, it's difficult to accept it. He'll make it very popular.
Actually, it was one of the most well-used scoring in Yeshiva.
So people didn't accept that fact It's gonna be difficult to.
You know, because he's telling this is Hakdama. When if you want to read about, if you want to know what the essence of the Sefer, you should read. Many people skip over the prefaces of Svarim.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what the Sefer is all about, read the preface.
I have a son who always has to be the copyright. Once he knows the copyright, then he can go further.
So he's saying, listen, this Sefer is not going to be so well received because it's going to take effort to understand what's being said. Okay. Now, so he says, Vishamati.
ושמעתי דבר נאה ומתקבל בשם גיסי. I heard a matter that benefits.
Well, Davar it's a nice thing. It's nice. Davar is a nice thing.
Nice
It's Kabil.
And received with a big art, with a big name.
Well, Gisi is his
Brother-in-law, huh?
so I think that's the Geese is his uncle, no? Geese is uncle. No, Geese is uncle. No. What's the Geese?
His brother, I think.
Well, no, Geese.
I thought in Hebrew or English?
Yeah, good.
In I thought Dodo was uncle.
Yeah. Yes, is a father. Oh, no, well, Yiddish is a shver, but we're not speaking Yiddish.
Okay. So uncle's not Dodo in Hebrew.
No.
So it's also BC.
I'm not sure. Gisi.
Alright, so
Yiddish is not so.
we don't know what BC is. BC is just
No,
something.
he has to make effort. It's a hard introduction. He has to
We'll look it up.
Okay.
You can Google it. We'll see what it is.
Okay.
Google.
Okay.
So I said,
Too modern. You're a Google man, I buy.
Once the דבר נעם, ומתקבל בשם גיסי, המנוח,
Harav going more Rebbeinu, Shlomo Zalman, the Harav Kalman, Abel Matels. The tells are ready.
It's Harav Hagaon Morenu Harabenu. Okay. Shlomo Zalman.
Ben Harav, they say raise, Ben Harav, Rebbeinu Kalman.
So the father is Kalman Abel.
Abel, right. Mitels.
Mitels, okay. Beha, Sofer, the Gemara. בסוגיה ג'זה נהנה וזה לא חסר.
So the Gemara there, I'll just tell you, the Gemara there is talking about a very difficult sugya. This person is going to get benefit, and this person is not going to have any loss. So the question is, the classical case that the Gemara is discussing is a person that has a guest room. He has a guest room, and he doesn't rent the room out. And he has someone that needs a place to stay. Right? So a person comes in and he makes use of the room. Let's say there's no damage, there's absolutely any damage or any type of wear and tear or any sheets get used. He has to pay for any of that type of thing. But the actual, let's say a room rents for 200 shekels a night in that particular location. So can the owner of the guest room honestly charge the person who made use of his guest room, which is never rented out? He never rents it out. Right? So zelo chaser, meaning I never rent it out, so I'm not chaser or anything. Right? And Zenena, this one got benefit. Right? So is it proper behavior to charge the person who stayed in the room? That's the question that Moore's doing.
He trespassed.
That's another story. Let's say he didn't trespass. Well, he knew, but
if he didn't trespass, they would have an agreement.
maybe not. Let's say there was no time to make an agreement or something like that. It was out of town.
Somebody walks into somebody's house and just sleeps there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, I tell you, I don't know how many percentages of years in Yerushalyim, how many people they only come here for Pesach and Sukkot, and they're empty the rest of the year. What?
They buy an apartment in Yerushalyim.
Yes.
And they come 3 times a year.
Come 3 times a year. So this guy, he doesn't feel. He cares if I go into his apartment and use his apartment. I'll leave it.
A lot of people do.
No, you're right. The people would, but let's say we're not talking about the HaKodesh.
Okay.
We're talking about Dini Mominus.
Okay.
Dini Mominus. He has the rights to charge me. He doesn't rent it out.
Well, that expression, Zen and in conventional society, it's taken that you're benefiting somebody that doesn't cost you anything. You're a nice guy, you're doing a chesed, you're helping somebody else. And in conventional society today, the way I heard it, nobody say, should be paying rent, not paying rent. It's your dua. This is a nice guy. He helps people. He does a chesed. So that's a very positive thing to be Zen and your own mitzvah. The way it's in our present society.
Let's go back to the source, the Gemara.
Okay. The Gemara was
Well, maybe I think the Gemara is about the time.
maybe in the time of the Gemara conditions were slightly different.
People should know what they're talking about.
That's right.
If they're talking about something that's mentioned in the Gemara, they should know the Gemara. So now let everybody know what the Gemara is talking about.
That's the best way. You say the Gemara is narrowing it down to a specific case, and I'm saying it's a broad statement that is used in many people.
Baba Kama got off on the island. The person who lives in a courtyard of his friend Shalom Adaita, Sorach, Ba'ol Star, ain't Sorach. He has to pay rent, he doesn't have to pay rent. Hey, you don't. What's the case? Either with the Chatzar Shalom Adaita, if you're talking about a Chatzar that's never rented out, the Gavra, and this person never rents. Both the Chatzar is something which is never rented, and the person who slept there never rents, never pays rent, right? This is a case where he's not benefiting, and this is a case where he's not Chatzar, he's not lacking anything. The person who has the Chatzar is not lacking anything, and the person who never pays rent anyway, so he's not getting any benefit. We're talking about the Chatzar.
He never pays rent, and he's sleeping, never using it.
I have my own house in the city. I have my own house in the city.
But in my opinion, he has no.
No,
because he's a cheap person, he doesn't want to pay rent. What does it have to do with?
Oh, let's see, hold on. Okay.
Sounds
So that's an Elam of Chatzar the Lo Kaim Agra. If you're talking about a Chatzar, right? If you're talking about a Chatzar, a courtyard, the Lo Kaim Agra that is not normally rented out. It's never rented out. These apartments you have all over Yerushalayim, they come even 2 times a year. They're not rented out. They're locked up for except for 2 times a year, right? Regrava de lo avi lemigar, and this person he doesn't rent. Lo nene v'zeh lo chaser. Ella, we're talking about. We must be talking about a chaser kind of lager that he does rent out his apartment. You have these people that they are only 2 times a year, and the rest of the time they give it over to property management. Matching the property. They rent it out. They're happy to rent it out for 6 months a year. Why not? And if you're talking about a Gavra da Avid Limigri, he does pay rent. He doesn't have a place to stay for free in this town. When he comes to town, he's got to get a hotel room, right? So Zen Nene, so this person is getting benefit, right? Because he's not paying rent, and he usually would pay rent. V'zeh chaser. And this person who has the dira, that the apartment that's usually rented out, he's chaser because he could have rented it out. We're talking about the Chatzar, the Lo Kaim Agra. The Chatzar is talking about where it's not rented out. It's like one of these years that there's not property management. It's only used twice a year. Regardless of the immigrant, the person does rent. He comes to town. He does have to pay rent. So my Matzila Ema, what can you say about that case? My Chasrecha, I'll tell you, I'll tell you, the guy comes to me and said, what did you lose out? I slept in your apartment. I left it clean, I didn't make a mess. Well, you didn't lose out anything. Dini Mominus, right? Kosher Mishpat. What did you, you don't like it, trespassing? Well, that's another story, right? Take a pill and you'll feel better, right? Dini Mominus. What did you lose here, right? Black and white, the bottom line. I didn't cause you a penny loss, right? Look at that big mitzvah.
Well, what if the guy wanted to change his mind and rent it out? So that we're saying he doesn't have this option. You're taking away his option.
But Shas Maisa, it wasn't rented out. Shas Maisa.
But he could have.
But he didn't. He didn't exercise his rights.
Who knows what he's going to do tomorrow?
Well, not me. I'm not leaving. I left there. You want to talk? So I'm not going to leave there tonight. I'll find somebody else tonight. Last night you can't charge me for.
So if you want to limit to the guy, not charge him anything.
Excuse me?
They give it to the guy for one night, not the dinner.
He didn't give it to him. The guy, Shalom Adai, he didn't do it with us. If he gave it to Das, Dilma, Matzi Omer, maybe he could say to him, the other claim that could be made is, is nos, you got to know. You saved yourself 200 shekels. You should have been at the hotel last night, right? So you benefited, right? So I'm going to say, it's a Mishnah. Okay, it goes, so as he says, it's a Mishnah. So that's what the case of, that's the classic case of Zen Enev Zelo Chaser. The person got Hana, he saved himself a hotel room's price, and, right, the Dira, he didn't lose anything in Kosher Mishpah. Zen Enev Zelo Chaser.
But he had a potential of making money, and that potential was taken away from him. And American law, that would have validity. Maybe the Gemara does not agree with that. I have something, I can sell it or not sell it. But if you take it away from me, then I can't.
Well, this is Ishtamshus, this is not sale. This is Ishtamshus.
I'm just using the sale as an illustration.
So at the time of the sleeping, he wasn't exercising his right. So maybe he has no right to claim it. If he didn't claim it at the time, how can you claim it retroactively?
But he didn't know about it. Once he was Yadua.
But in Kosher Mishpah, he didn't lose any money.
I don't see it, but
so that's so now the Gemara comes along and so it said, the Gemara says like this. Now you can quote the Gemara. That's the quote. The sugi zen enev is a lochaser.
Lochaser derav chizda Boye.
Yes, Rav Chizda asked.
Marmei bar Chama, Hashivlo, and he asked him?
Yes. Tishamishli. Right, so one second. So he said, so Rav Chizda asked this question, right, to Rami Bar Chama. So Rami Bar Chama said to Rav Chizda, the one who asked him the question, Lechi, come tishamishli, come and serve me. Come and serve me. You have a question, I want you to do something. So what did he do?
Shekel Sudra Herek Lay, he weighed down something.
Shekel meaning he took.
Oh, Shekel he took?
Yeah, took. Shekel he took. Sudra, he took his handkerchief, right? He took his handkerchief and he folded it for him. He took his handkerchief and he folded it for him. Folded it nicely, right?
That was a benefit.
Oh, we'll see that. What's the benefit of it?
The Hashkafa, Mishana,
Matniya. So that's the Gemara, right? He asked the Rav Chizda asked the question of Rami Bar Chama, right? He said, before I'm going to answer the question, you have to do something to serve me. So he took his handkerchief and he folded it for him, gave it back. So Hashkafa Rishona Tmeil. And at first glance, this is amazing. It's an amazing thing, an amazing Gemara. What's going on here? He asked him a question.
I'm not going to talk to you unless you do me a favor.
Yeah. You have to do something. You have to not just do me a favor. You have to serve me. Right? So that's what we're going to come to explain. And this is going to explain a little bit more in depth what what the reason of having a Rav is. Why? Because and the question we've been asking the whole week is, according to the Rambam, even if the person's less than you, right? If he's equal to you, and even if he's less than you, what's the point about having a Rav? Vir Harav Niskael, that was Rav Kalman Eivel, right? Mittelhaus.
Hashkafa means like outlook, and here means glance.
Well, Hashkafa Ritzon is his first glance. First Hashkafa is like a
First impression?
What we say that also is also first glance, first impression.
There Harav.
Aniskalael, that is mentioned before. The explanation that was given by the Rav that was mentioned previously.
Niskalael.
Niskar Lael, that was mentioned. Niskar Lael, above.
שהעניין הוא שדבר צריך עיון ויגיע, that the matter requires עיון and toil. Tului, Ikar HaDavar, im mat lamad.
Im hamislamed.
Amin, במעלת Mamado.
Hamalamdoi.
So that it requires even and toil, and it depends upon the ikar of the matter. If he teaches faithfully,
like this,
The student believes in the teacher.
Oh, exactly. When you're dealing with something that requires Ian analysis and Yigi and effort, the whole thing depends upon the Talmud's belief in the Rebbe, in the teacher. You've got to believe in the teacher. You've got to believe in the Rebbe. Why? He explains.
Sorry, and ma'alat means what?
The benefits. Advantages of the benefits of the one who's teaching. It depends on the students, the Talmud's belief in the benefits of the one who's teaching. Advantages, the benefits of the one who's teaching.
Then, in lo yavin Yerushalyim, he doesn't understand at first. Ifla chasron ba'atzmo, he will something will lack in himself.
Attribute. That same motion of tliya, that tliya, attribute. That's I finally got the good translation on that word.
Ifla chasron ba'atzmo, he will attribute the lack to himself.
So okay, one moment. So again, because why? If the Talmud believes in the benefits of the Rebbe, right? So then, if he doesn't understand things initially, he's going to attribute the lack of his understanding to himself. See if I do. Yosef Oimitz.
Yosef Oimitz Legia and Atzmo, and he will add more. He will add more to strengthen his toil.
He will put forth extra efforts.
Right. He'll put forth extra efforts unto himself, and then understand.
And then you'll come to understand.
However, in Divrei if the words of his teacher Kalim seem trivial, in his eyes, Lo Shavel Lo, and he doesn't agree with him. The student does not agree with him. Lo hates unmates. The student will not try to put forth more effort in his learning. As in Lo Yikavel Hadivarim, and then he will not receive the words, the mashkel,
Did he accept the words?
which were, Va'az im lo yikabel advarim b'mishkal harishon, if he's not going to accept, very good, he's not going to accept the words with the first, with their first measuring out, with their first presentation, mishkal, presentation, mishkal, with their first presentation. Yinicham. He'll leave them. He'll just leave them.
Or Yivat Lam, or he will like build them, nullify them, delete and that'll be it.
That'll be it, right? He'll just mevatel them. He'll like ignore them. He'll ignore them, and that'll be it. So either if he doesn't have faith in the Rebbe, the Talmud doesn't have faith in the Rebbe, so then he's simply going to hear something from the Rebbe. If he understands it, very good. But if he encounters something he doesn't understand at face value with the first presentation, he's going to simply say, "Well, it's not me. Must be something wrong with the Rebbe. The Rebbe doesn't know what he's talking about," and he'll just ignore it, or he'll.
Therefore, Kasher Gada Rami Bar Hama, when Rami Bar Hama knows at Omek HaInyan the depth of the union, Shivat said that he wants to learn.
He wanted to teach, meaning, see, again, Rav Chizda, in the Gemara, Rav Chizda asked the question to Rami Bar Hama. So Rami Bar Hama said, before I answer you, you should serve me in some way, right? And so then, why did Rabbi Chamba do such a thing like that? What's holding the handkerchief have to do with a question in Kosher Mishpat? It's astounding what's going on with this Gemara over here.
No, it's he didn't want to teach him until he had
she is Amitz lo Shirav Chizu Mishtokot Mislamed Mimenu Ketamid Mirav. So Rami Bar Chama, that since he was having to teach something which was oimik, it was depthful, it was very deep, and Indian complex. Right? Therefore, Rabbi Bar Chama, didn't want to teach Rav Chizda until she's Ametz lo. He verified. She's Ametz. It was verified until he verified Rav Chizda that Rav Chizda mishtokek l'slamed mimeno ketalmid marav. That he verified that Rav Chizda was interested to learn from him like a talmid from a Rav. Because Rav Chizda was big. Rav Chizda was one of the Gedolei Ador. He was very big. And he came to ask Mari Bar Chama, who made, I'm not sure in terms, I have to look in the smart to see who was on a absolute level of greater or lesserness. But Rabbi Bar Chama didn't want to say over something which was complex and depthful, that Rav Chizda would maybe perhaps have difficulty accepting at first presentation. So therefore he wanted to verify that Rav Chizda was very interested in learning from him like a Talmud from a Rav. Meaning that the whole effort that would be necessary to understand what he or Rami Bar Chama would be said would be understood, that it takes effort. You may not understand it the first time, right? But you have to believe that what I'm telling you is the truth, right? And you have to put in efforts to understand it. And therefore it may be difficult. Don't put it on the side or ignore it, simply because it seems a little bit difficult to accept at first presentation. That's the importance of the comment by a Rav.
And by offering him a service, that is establishing a Talmud about.
But that was a verification. That Rav Chizda wanted to learn from Mari Bar Chama as a Talmud learns from a Rav. For someone who is greater than you, you're willing to serve. You're willing to do things. Go out of your way to do something to please them, to serve them, to service them. Or someone who feels lesser than you, unless it's in the get of chesed, right? You're not going to go out of your way to do something that's that's perhaps even degraded. You know, if kids should fold the hanky, fold the clothes of Rabbi Bar Chama, like, you know, I'm not sure if he folded the clothes in his own house. So, you know, why is he folding clothes for Rabbi Bar Chama?
But that brings another thing. Should a Rav ask his Tam to do something that would be considered degrading? To me, that's...
Oh, so first of all,
that's completely awesome.
So first of all,
you should never degrade a Tam.
So this is something probably is not degrading, right? Folding a suitor is like his scarf, his hanky. Could be a suitor, could be a hanky, his talos or something like that. Yeah, something like that.
That's a couple. It's like an honor to fold the robes.
I know by Reb Scheinberg sits out, they would buck them, they would shine the Reb shoes, they would love to, I would make coffee for Yeshiva every morning. My greatest honor to do these kind of things. You know, I make a coffee for you too also.
So we should not use the word degrading.
No, well, it wasn't. No, you shouldn't misunderstand. It wasn't degrading. It wasn't something. He wasn't trying to degrade him. He was trying to verify that he was willing to serve him.
The relationship.
Yeah, that's right. That we'd be taking a more submissive role in this particular aspect of the
So
relationship.
if you make the coffee for the Rebbe, that's establishing your relationship between the Talmud and the Rebbe. Because you're offering him a service, and he's not doing himself. Okay, I can see that.
Okay, let's just finish up.
Second to last line.
Yeah, right. L'chein lo.
ולכן לא למדו הדבר עד שישמש אותו. He did not teach him the matter until he had served him. The Talmud, like a student to already. Listen up now.
Okay, that's an abbreviation of a parak of a pasuk in Kehelis. That's what's written now. Divrei fi chochem chen b'sif sois ksil tabolenu.
I see. Divrei fi, and the words of the mouth of a chacham chen are graceful. The sifatot ksil on the lips of a fool teval enu are worthless.
Well, people they'll swallow you
Oh,
up.
right, sorry.
Swallow you.
Yeah.
If you get involved with a conversation with a ksil, you'll never get out of the conversation.
We're still having this status. The case of Nafshi.
So
That's
what's
still hanging.
No, so what people maybe use it in the Welt, the other people that maybe the way it's taken in common folk expression these days is maybe different than what the Gemara is referring to, but that's okay. Most people,
Well, at least we have a source for this expression, and how it developed over the years could be said. And that's possible.
Like you want to give a person a ride. Zen, and there's a little custom. The person's driving by the HaKodesh and Yaakov anyway. There's a jump in. Right, so you need to use you'd pay for a bus anyway, right? If you had to, or a cab if you had to go. But he's going here anyway. He's not costing that much more gasoline probably for two people in the car than one. So then there's a little custom. He's not a cabbie that charges people for rides. If he was a cabbie, even a private cabbie, he has a right to charge you.
Did you ever hear of Chaim Plum's
I'm very familiar.
Yeah, so he lived in and he would stop at every bus stop. He said, "I'm going your way," and he would take. That was his whole life was dedicated. Unfortunately, he would have been biased for us when he was learning it. He died at a young age, but that was his whole.
What was it?
A Chaim Plum.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, he would stop, and he had an old what they call Yeshiva's car. Was falling apart, but didn't stop him from helping people.
Okay, so I think I wanted to bring this to the shir to explain that what's the importance of making for yourself a rab. That therefore, if you make this person a rab, you're willing to accept what he says, and you're willing to work to understand what he says. Right? That's something which doesn't exist necessarily with a harusa, right, or a friend. I mean, your friend, if your harusa says something that doesn't make sense, you don't have, you prove it to me. I said many times to somebody, prove it to me. He said, he tells me I'm wrong. He says, prove me I'm wrong.
How do I come up with the criteria? What is required to be a rock?
That's something else. What's the criteria to be a
He said he
rock?
has, even, he knows more than you in some inyanim, some inyanim he doesn't know, or you know more, so there are a lot of different criteria.
Yes. And the exact criteria of what goes into being a rock, we didn't really come across, so we didn't have anyone delineating that exactly.
So if I consider you my rabbi, I'm not sure I'm meeting all the criteria, because I don't know the criteria. We have to go over that.
Yeah. That's as I said, that's when you're making the directive. The Rambam says that the directive, the command to make a person a rav, that's in effect when the person's obviously not clearly the rav. And if a person's clearly the rav, he's clearly the rav. You don't have to make the rav. He is the rav, right? Either by your own knowledge or public knowledge or whatever it is. But here we're told, it's a command, make a person for you a rav, meaning there is no rav here, right? And you have to seek and make somebody a rav, right? So obviously it's not the ideal choice, whatever the situation exists. But you have the Rambam's telling us that the command of Yeshua ben Prachi is in these situations, especially, you have to, even still, you're obligated to have yourself a rav. And even if he's going to be less than wiser than you, and even certainly he's equal, but you can't find anyone who is the rav, right? It's similar to the case of there's a Mishkan later on in Avos. Amakim she'ein anoshim ishtadl, amakim she'ein anoshim ishtadl lios ish, right? If there's no person around to do it, ishtadl lios ish. I mean, the situation, there's no person around here. Even you, there's no person around. You're not here either. There's no person here to do this job. No person. Amakim she'ein anoshim, a place where there's no people, no one is around. You included. What should you do? You should put forth efforts to be the ish. You try and be the ish. You try and be the person to do the job, right?
I believe in that 100%.
Many times, I'm sure you can tell us many times.
And
There's no one to do the job.
That a herring is a fish, because one comes you ain't fish, so even a herring. Because a herring was the low class, The Yid in the shtetls always their daily bread, a piece of hard bread, what we call in America pumpernickel, I don't know, and some herring. So it really wasn't, a gourmet breakfast, to be sure, like we have here. But so even a herring is really good fish.
Right. So it's simple. There's no one in a Malkum She'ein Rav, also called Rav. You have to make for yourself a Rav. You have to make sure you have yourself a Rav. There's tell you one story. I heard from Rabbi Tuski's Zatzal. He was the aide of the son-in-law of Rabbi Scheinberg's Zatzal. So when his father, Rabbi Tuski's father, came over from Europe on the boat, it was, 10 days, 2 weeks, came over on the boat from Europe to America. So his father learned by the Shakachov, and he learned by the Chavetz Chaim in Radin, and he was a Talmud Chacham. But he was dressed very, very simply, wore a short jacket. He was a very pleasant-looking person. And on the boat, there were a lot of Jews on the boat. There was also a very. He wasn't a Rebbe. He wasn't a Rebbe. He wasn't a Talmud Chacham either. But he dressed. He had a long beard and payas and everything like this. So people were gravitating towards this Hasidic fellow, and he knew. On the Parsha, the Shetlach, he said all the nice things we told him, but people took a liking to him. So one day, this chassid came over to Rosh's father, and he said, "You have to help me out here, right? Because to say something on the Parsha with Rashi and Chumash, I could do it. But now the women are coming to me with their shaylas. Whether this is a mukher or this is also is it dam? Is it not dam? I don't know anything about these things. I never learned this. I don't know anything about this. So he's caught kind of in a fix because he he didn't want this person to be embarrassed, and so Watuski's father said to him, look, you're sitting there at your place, wherever you are, in the dining, wherever it is, where people come to see you, and I'll be next to you. I'll be standing next to you, and they'll show you the things, and I'll take a look. And if I tap you on this side of the shoulder, it's mutter, and if I tap you on that side of the shoulder, this is usher. And you'll tell them what it is. You'll tell them what it is. As not to embarrass and then make a pigam in the public image of this other person. But, that's how careful he was.
So if the story is about Tuski's father-in-law, that was
His father.
Okay, because his father-in-law was on the same boat that my wife came over. So yes, it was about Kaga. Yes, and they ended up in Denver. And he and my late father was a Manger. They had a paskin for these people on the Nevermore, which was 3 weeks. The cruise, in the Atlantic with the German U-boats around there. So it was very exciting.
Day and night.
My wife was a little kid, and she said she was playing marbles the whole time with the other little kid. When you're a little kid, the parents are worried, and you need to see out of the shrine. So she experienced anything from the show up because she was a little child, and the parents shielded with the kids. They didn't want them to have this.
Okay, we'll take a short break and we'll continue on with the Ignis Moshe sheets.